Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network.
Hey, welcome to Geek Fruit Retcon, where we travel back in time to a previous episode from our inglorious history on the Geek Fruit Podcast. Happy listening, you nerds.
Hi, welcome to the Geek Fruit Podcast. You're listening to me, Tejas, and Jishnu. Hi, Jishnu.
Hello.
Currently, if you're listening to this, it's one of two things. You're listening to it as we record it right now, which is possibly true.
I do have headphones on.
This is true.
So
And
I am
also,
listening.
and you're not, you're not deaf.
Whose line was it? I'm listening.
I'm listening?
Frasier Crane.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever watch Frasier?
A little bit, yeah. I didn't finish the whole, 15 seasons? How many seasons are there? 8, I think.
A lot.
Yeah.
But I watched when I was like a kid, and I
But
was very confused as to
you're
why I was
such a-
watching it. I should go back and watch it.
Yeah, considering you're such a big fan of Cheers.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, speaking of Cheers, nothing to do with our realm of things whatsoever, but I'm a big fan of Louis C.K.
Yeah.
Have you seen his new comedy?
What's
new
his
show?
Howard and Pete? And
Horace and Pete.
Horace and Pete? No, I
Yeah.
haven't paid the money. So Abhimanyu, my roommate, and we were just like, we were thinking of pooling in some dough. How much is it though?
It's I think it's $30.
Okay, so before we even just so what is Horace and Pete? Why don't you just tell everybody about this? Very
Horace and-
strange phenomenon.
It's so bizarre. It's awesomely bizarre.
Yes.
So Louis C.K. needs no introduction, but he.
But he's a comedian, guys. Okay, go.
But apart from that introduction, he is. He just put out, I think about a month or so ago, he put out a TV show called Horace and Pete, which he basically Beyoncé'd in that nobody had a clue what was happening.
surprise drop.
Surprise TV show.
Yeah.
Because he's become such a big household name. Obviously, he has a lot of bucks hidden under his pillow.
Does he, though?
I would imagine. Of course he does.
Well, that's
course
the
he
whole
does.
thing about this show, right? That he released it, and now he's basically not broke, but
yeah,
I
of
feel
course.
like
I mean,
he's-
he had a lot of bucks to make the show. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
not. I don't know how he's doing now.
He's not recovered any
after
of the
show.
money.
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
not. Probably not enough at least
Yeah.
as yet.
And why is that though?
So he did the entire thing completely self-funded. Didn't have any network behind him. Had no actual studio that he was working with.
Yeah.
So he's writer, director, producer, everything.
Editor, yeah, he does that anyway for Louis.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So he told a story on, I think it was Conan or something like that, where he was talking about how he approached the cast for this, because the cast is humongous.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
like
it's a good cast.
Big names from like people that are above the age of 50 on average.
yeah.
So it's him, Alan
Alan
Alda
Alda,
from
yeah.
MASH, who's amazing. I'm
Yeah.
so glad to see him again. I haven't seen him in so long.
We saw
And,
it in something, I'll tell you. It was
Yeah.
it was in Little Miss Sunshine, wasn't he in that?
But that was ages ago, though.
Yeah, it was
That was
2007, yeah.
ages ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been a long time since I've seen him.
Yeah.
So him, Steve Buscemi,
Yeah,
freaking
lovely.
incredible. Jessica Lange.
Okay, excellent.
So and then a whole host of people that is sort of incredibly familiar to you, even if you might not know their names immediately, like Edie Falco and stuff like that.
Yeah, of course.
Brilliant cast. Anyway, so he just approached these people. Some of them were friends, some of them were just new people that he was genuinely a fan of, and said, "Be a part of my show and don't tell anybody."
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't like approach their agents or anything, and he just got these people on. And the thing about this show is, like, there were obviously no trailers for it. There was no any.
So there no trailers either? So I'm sure there's a promo cut
Maybe
for it,
now
yeah.
that it's out, but prior to its release, there was nothing about it. And so I saw it completely blind, just on the blind faith that, like, hey, it's a Louis C.K. thing. I loved the show
okay.
Louis, so I'm going to invest in this. So I saw it, and it's 10 episodes, about an hour long each on average, some a little over an hour, some a little under. And the bizarre thing about it is that it functions like a stage play. It's
this is what I've heard about it, yeah.
Refreshingly different in that it's in the first 5 minutes of the very first episode, I was incredibly irked by like how the camera was moving, or rather not moving.
Is it like canned laughter?
No, it's not. There's no laughter. There's no laughter.
It's just super dark, I hear.
It's incredibly dark.
Yeah, even
Very
darker than like Louis.
Far darker than
Yeah.
Louis. It's so dark, yet it is comedic. And the thing is, like, I bring this up because you mentioned Cheers.
Yeah.
The whole thing takes place in this bar.
In the bar, yeah,
so
sure.
A lot of the tropes about it, when you first see it, the first like 5-10 minutes until you really figure out what's going on, feels like it's a sitcom because it's a three-walled set There is no fourth wall that you can see.
Yeah.
It's an invisible fourth wall. And then they're all, moving about as you would in a sitcom. You open up to the camera, things like that. People come in and, leave from entrances and exits based on timing. But you can, based on, when a line of dialogue finishes.
So it's shot as a single take, like the whole show?
Pretty much.
Nice.
And so, like, the extras that come in, of which aren't many, and actually even other cast members that are in the background of a scene, they're not talking. You can see them, like, just mimicking, mouthing words in the back and waiting for their cue.
Yeah, they're not being sound designed.
They've not been sound. And speaking of sound design, it's actually kind of mediocre. Because there are moments where, like, there's a conversation happening in one part of the room. And it's a big room. It's a bar. So, like, maybe 20 feet away, somebody else calls out, says, "Hey, what about me?" And you can hear a distinct drop in audio because, like, the boom mic hasn't got there yet.
Wow.
And some guy's clearly louder than the other. And it takes
great.
a couple... And it's great. So, like, you can feel it's live. Yeah, it was just so good. And it's very intelligently done. I won't really get into the details of the story because it's just great to see how it sort of unravels itself.
So, actually, how I heard about it is that... he was basically, like you said, not being funded for this, and he self-funded it. And then and because he's not promoted it, he's not made any money off of it. And so there was almost like a plea from, like, these websites like Verge and AV Club and stuff, and just saying, like, everyone go pay the money, buy this show, and, like, buy the the rights to watch it, and like, help Louis C.K. because you love him and you believe in his work, so just go do this. So that's how I like I said, my family and I, we were like, okay, cool, let's just, like, so how much is it again? Like, just tell everybody.
It's just a few dollars if you buy the first episode, and so either you buy the first episode for I think like $2 or $3, or you buy the whole season for like $30.
That's not bad at all.
Which is very reasonable.
Dollars. Yeah, cool, sweet. So Horace and Pete and this is directly on his website, is it?
Yeah, it's on. I think it's louisck.com or .net.
Sweet, that's
you just
awesome.
Google it, you'll find it immediately.
How rare is that, though, right?
I found out about it because I'm a humongous Paul Simon fan, and Paul Simon did the theme song, which just stunned me.
Yeah, that's true.
And the way, again, that this is done, it's like the show doesn't have ads, obviously, but it has an intermission. So just like goes to black.
Like a play.
It just says the word intermission, and you get to hear a 30-second snippet of a Paul Simon song that he wrote called Horace and Pete.
Nice.
And it's so... I love that there's clearly no exterior influences on this.
Just an artistic show.
It's completely this guy saying, look, I'm going to be an artist, and some things about it can, like, get a little over the top, like, okay, clearly you just did what exactly you wanted to do, and, like, very few people checked you on this.
So that's
but
why
it's kind of nice to sort of...
indulgent because it's one person doing the entire thing.
Yeah. So if you're a fan of Louis, I'm sure you'll at least be impressed by this, if not, fully intrigued and pulled into the entire thing. But
amazing.
It's really something to see.
Cool. Okay, cool. So we're going to take a short break, and we're going to come back and talk about today's episode. Today's a little bit of a fun dive into the life and times of one Harrison Ford, who's actually we are quite big fans of, because he's raking in all that nerd money.
Yeah, he just became the highest paid actor in the world.
Yeah,
he just knocked out Sam Jackson.
And suddenly he's on he's not on our radar just now. But yeah, so we're going to talk about Harrison Ford. We'll be back.
Finding the right drink at the right place can be a big challenge. Exploring a new destination to its fullest could be a daunting task.
So tune in every Friday and listen to the Drinks and Destinations podcast with Rajita and Samira, who introduce you to the world of fine wines, beer, spirits, and travel.
You can subscribe to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Audioboom, or any other local podcast app.
Hello again.
Hi.
I feel like we say that a lot.
Yeah, we do go.
It's
technically,
polite. It's nice.
It's polite. Yeah, for one, it's polite, and secondly, there are people who are going and listening to some glorious ads, and then they come back, and then it's like, oh, wait, I've almost forgot. There's a great show going on.
You mean the Inglorious Bastards? Okay.
Oh, not bad. When you said it like with so much huff and puff and blow your house down, it was like, oh my god, this is going to be terrible. But you ended it well. Well done.
And especially if it's an ad for erotica, it's a bust ad.
Wow.
Inglorious.
That's like, wow. That's 2 levels deep.
I'm having a good day.
Almost still limbo.
I'm having a good day today.
Alright, so let's ignore everything that just happened since we started.
Moving swiftly, too.
Yes. Harrison Ford. So why are we talking about Harrison Ford again?
So like I said, he's just sort of...
This year.
One movie alone.
Yeah, this year. Well, this year kind of
pretty
with
much
that one movie.
With just that one little space movie.
That small indie space movie, Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Yeah. He has. So it's crossed over a billion. I mean, it's crossed over $1 billion.
Yeah.
And so he's become the highest paid actor, or is he the highest? This is the other thing I read. He's the highest
grossing or whatever. It is.
Yeah, basically the most amount of profits that ever come from U.S. domestic has he's responsible.
Sure. Yeah.
He's been in the movies that have
whatever
brought in
it is.
the best.
I mean, yeah, like all these lists of like money and like who's making
He's
the most
quite
is
up
always
there.
variable depending on the how you want to define the term of highest whatever.
So one which I'm definitely sure of is U.S. domestic.
Sure.
He is number one in highest grossing, and he just you said he nudged out Samuel L. Jackson.
And the thing that interests me about it is the fact that Sam Jackson's one of the guys that is in so many freaking movies.
He is in every movie.
You can never keep track of him.
It's
right?
like Family Guy says. He's like he's just in every movie.
Yeah. So and that. Because of that, it doesn't surprise me that he was number one for as long as he was, and now number two.
Yeah.
And the thing about Harrison Ford is that he's not been in too many movies lately.
But I think it's difficult to say whether Samuel L. Jackson will probably take him over.
He could very easily.
Well, because there's still a bunch of Avengers left.
He will keep doing
Avengers
a lot of
films.
movies, and let alone Avengers. Just in general, he likes to do as many films as possible. Harrison Ford likes to be very selective.
Yeah, but then he does have two big ones coming
Exactly.
up.
So the next one being obviously Indy 5.
Well, actually, the next one is going to be Blade Runner 2.
That's right.
Yeah.
There you go.
So Blade Runner 2.
Yeah.
Obviously, amazing movie. What will be the sequel to one of the most, I think, divisive films when it came out.
Absolutely.
And obviously I wasn't even born, but ever since I got into like science fiction and stuff, I know it's been on the radars, as you know, it's one of the better ones. And then I ended up watching it pretty late, like when I was in college.
Likewise.
Yeah, and it's good because I don't think you can watch it. It's not like. I saw The Matrix as a kid because that's when it came out, and I was still kind of old enough to watch it. But I could kind of understand it, and then I rewatched it. But for Blade Runner, I think it requires a little more like thought because it's less
really
about
does.
like how complex it is, but it's more about like ideas and the weight of it. So I think Blade Runner is easily one of my favorite science fiction movies. And he had so much to it only because I've read the book also before I rewatched the director's cut. And the book is vastly different. And the character in the book, while you can imagine Harrison Ford playing it, it is still a different kind of character-ish. Like, it's still not the kind of person that... Harrison Ford, like, that's what he does. He's kind of like... whatever movie he does, you can't imagine the role going to anybody else, which is why we have in such hue and cry about whatever's been happening right now. We'll get to that. But, like, you know that Harrison... Like, it's less like Harrison Ford is Han Solo and more like Han Solo is Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
And I found that so true.
And, again, just the comparison to Sam Jackson, it's true for both of them.
That's also true,
Every
yes.
single role that they do, you feel like you're watching Harrison Ford playing this character as opposed to just that character alone. You know what I mean?
Because even when you see him in interviews and stuff, and I just saw a really good one because I knew we were doing this episode, so I saw a good one of him in 1982 on David Letterman. Okay, and you know what? I've always
was this promoting Raiders?
Raiders and Blade Runner, surprisingly. Right. Okay, and it's funny because when you see interviews of him now, and we've been watching a lot before Force Awakens came out, and it's just like he's been like he has this whole grumpy old man kind of attitude.
Yeah.
And like I was just like, what happened? Like, was it because of he had a bunch of flops in the 90s and stuff? Like, what happened? Like, that he's. But I saw this interview and he's this. I mean, he is literally the same. Like he is
grumpy.
He's never been a Hollywood star in the sense. He's never lapped it up.
Yeah.
He's never been like. He's never out to charm the fans or anything like that. That's not his prerogative at all.
That being said, I completely agree with you up until like maybe just a few weeks ago when on the Star Wars YouTube channel, they've been putting out videos every other day.
Oh, the Force for Change?
All the Force for Change stuff.
Really good.
And they're very, very playful. Like Mark Hamill got in a Stormtrooper costume.
Mark Hamill is the
Mark
opposite,
Hamill is
right?
completely for the fans, right? So so he did something where he gets in a Stormtrooper outfit and like walks the streets and just
that's so funny.
Has fun with the fans, whatever. So that's cool. So that's the kind of humor that they were going for, right? And so all the cast do things like that. Like now, since Star Wars and the Avengers are under the same banner of Disney, the Marvel guys for Civil War have been doing stuff like that where they drop in on some Skype calls with like fans and like, hello,
it's
surprise,
awesome.
it's Skype call with me, and they're like, oh my god, it's team so and so, and it's great, like it's really cool for the fans.
It is cool.
So I saw Harrison Ford do the exact same thing, and he's
smiling in that.
He's smiling, he's genuinely grinning, and I was like, I've never seen you. Well, I've rarely seen him off. out of character, out of a script, being enthusiastic about something.
Well, there may be
And I
two
feel-
reasons for that.
And I feel like just the love and warmth that this movie was received with, even just from the first trailer alone, like when you see that panel at Comic-Con,
Yeah.
he genuinely seemed like he wanted to be there.
Then 3 reasons why it could be. So one is that, okay,
To his money, obviously.
Well, to his money, and
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about the money.
Of course, I
So,
mean,
this is how
no
much he
doubt.
was paid,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
for Star Wars, 1977.
Yeah.
$10,000, okay? This is how much...
Which with inflation comes to
Maybe like a little more than that. No, fine, $10,000, all right?
it comes to 11.
Okay,
Cool,
yeah,
yes.
11, right?
All right.
This is how much he was paid for Star Wars The Force Awakens. $16 million plus 0.5% of the entire gross of whatever the movie makes. And this movie has made over $1 billion. So let's even just do the math, which I'm not good at. Jishnu, go.
That is
200? So 20 something? It's got to have 20 in it because it's 0.5. See, if it's 1 billion, then 1% of it is like, so 500 million.
No.
No, what am I saying?
What?
Sorry.
No, it's
50
2 million.
million.
It's 2 million.
50 million.
It's
See, 1% of 1 billion is 1 million. Okay? So, that would mean...
5
I
million.
knew it!
It's 5 million.
Wait, how is that even possible? Yeah, 5 million, sorry.
Yes. So he made $5 million
Yeah.
bonus.
Boom. Thanks,
Yes.
Amit. We popped out of nowhere to do the maths. That's his role.
That's what he does.
That's what he does, yeah. So, there you go.
But the thing is, he's always been rich. I mean, he's gotten really rich. But
gotten
he's
really
always
rich.
been rich.
Okay, but think about it this
So
way.
I don't think that, like, I feel like there's no significant threshold that he's crossed, in the last year, because once he was earning in the millions, I think like anybody would be grinning from year to year. Yet he was still grumpy.
Yes.
Something has changed. I don't feel like...
Also, also the other thing is that he made a cool 12 million just very recent, like maybe a week ago. So,
For what?
your favorite app, Jishnu, Snapchat.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so the CEO, Evan Spiegel, just bought his house. which
Bought
he used
Harrison
to own.
Ford's house.
Yeah, his old house. So basically, he bought that house in like the 80s for like $1 million. A cool $1 million. And he sold it for like 12 just now. So, there's more free money coming in.
He's
so,
an entrepreneur. He's a
just
realtor now.
Let's just say that he is not... he's not
But
in
wait,
it
what's
for
your-
the money.
what's your third
My
reason?
third option
Yeah,
is
third
that...
reason.
Because all the research I've been doing, also I've seen this a little bit. I've not really dived into it too much, but he's always been a very like charitable man.
Mm-hmm.
He has made enough money for him to do so and set up enough projects and stuff. And so he is part of like a bunch of things, something called the CI, which basically goes and it's about environmental awareness and going to places which need critical action and then helping out over there as well. He's also done a lot of work with. It was funny. He was in front of the foreign relations committee at the U.S. Senate to talk about Tibet and how that needs to be a free state.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and talk about the Dalai Lama, and then like he proceeded to go and do the voiceover. Like he was the narrator for this film called the Dalai Lama Renaissance. So he's always been part of like a lot of benefit kind of
Sure.
work, and I think because Force for Change is such a huge what do you call it thing in that way.
Force.
Yeah, it is a huge force for change, but they're not making change in that. I mean, like as in like they're making lots of millions.
Yeah, they're letting other people make the change.
And it's kind of fusing both of his passions. I mean, he does love acting, and he does love. I mean, that's the whole reason why he does it. And I mean, obviously, Star Wars has been such a huge thing he cannot ignore in his life. So I think maybe fusing both of those things is just like I mean, why would you even say no to that? Like even as Harrison
No to
Ford,
what?
as it's just for something like helping people.
Oh yeah.
I feel commit to a cause.
Honestly,
yeah.
I feel like you should be morally obliged.
Yeah,
any
definitely.
good person, once you're like crossing a 6-figure salary, even
That
actually
is your
well before-
responsibility, yeah.
Well before you,
You're
I'm talking
obligated.
US dollars.
Yeah.
Well before you even cross a 6-figure salary, I feel like you should be morally obliged to give some of that back, and it's up to you how you want to do it.
Yeah,
but
so he's not been the fact that he's not been a grump about it has been pleasant.
Oh, very, very much.
has been great.
And I would like to believe that, in the, hundreds and thousands of people that make anywhere close to how much that he does in various entertainment fields, or not even entertainment fields, that while we only are aware of some of them that have set up different organizations and like regular donors to different charities, I would like to believe that there are a lot of them that are doing it without their name getting published about it. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah,
I would like
yeah.
to believe that the minute that
Like
even
if they
Empire,
are
the minute that
Jehovah's
Empire happened,
Witnesses.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, like
like Prince.
friend.
Yeah,
Prince.
the artist formerly known as, yeah.
So I would like to believe that even once Empire Strikes Back came out and he was like raking in a lot of money, that he would have had some.
Well, did he make the
incentive to do
most amount of
something.
his money at the time of Star
Probably
Wars?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably Indiana Jones that did that.
Yeah. Also, maybe like I don't know what the state of home video viewing was back
Oh,
then.
yeah.
Because that would have had a big thing.
I'm sure. But like that's only if he was getting a cut from that, but, which he's clearly
Maybe,
taken ahead
probably.
and done in
If
Force
he has a
Awakens.
good lawyer.
Well, I don't know.
I don't know.
I see he made the
Definitely,
bulk of his money with these franchises.
Yeah.
And, well, yeah, I guess that's
arguably,
how...
like merchandising and like games and like offshoot kind of stuff is why
Funny you
like,
say that.
Star Wars makes so much,
Yeah, it's true. But I again, I don't know about that because I was watching this David Letterman interview. Excuse me. And like, he was just like, it was just like, he's so weirdly awkward generally during these interviews. He
Of
doesn't
course.
say much.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
even like acts like he doesn't like it. Any of it. Like,
yeah.
not like the interviews, but the movies themselves. He's like,
Right.
yeah, sure. That's funny because he's always said that.
Yeah.
There's this other thing that he says. He said recently in an interview where he's like, Donald Trump just said that his favorite movie is like Air Force One.
Oh,
And it's
man.
because a president took action to, and his only response was like, dude, it was a movie. And he said that for so many things when Oscar Isaac
Yeah,
also said,
he's like-
hey man, do you have any tips about how to, operate like a TIE fighter
X-Wing,
or an X-Wing
yeah.
or something? He's like,
It's all fake.
It's all fake. It's just a movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, so in this interview, Letterman asks him, he's like, almost like jokingly, and he's just like, so you must see your face on like a bunch of like lunch boxes and flasks and stuff. He's like, I don't talk about money. And it's just like everyone goes silent for a second, and then everyone starts laughing, and he's still like pretty
Yeah,
serious in
yeah,
that
yeah,
really
yeah,
awkward
yeah,
way.
yeah.
And so yeah, I'm sure he must have made a ton of money, which I guess he's not comfortable talking about. Like he's never really spoken about it in that sense. Yeah, he must be making a crap load of money.
Yeah.
But yeah, he
I
doesn't really
saw,
speak about it.
brother, I listened to J.J. Abrams on the Notice podcast.
Yeah. I missed that one. Yeah.
Don't mean to pimp out another podcast, but that's a pretty good podcast if you're
Yeah.
going to listen to one.
Yeah.
So
I mean, ours is better, but sure.
So, J.J. Abrams was on there like a few weeks ago, and he was obviously talking about Star Wars a bit, and something about Harrison Ford came up. And, he had this thing where he injured himself on set, right? Like, he broke his leg.
broke his ankle.
A door, like, fell down.
Actually, they both
collapsed.
broke stuff. Like, so he
that's
broke his
right.
ankle. And then
he broke his, like, back trying to help him
That's
with his
crazy.
broken ankle. But something that actually honestly surprised me a little bit, because we don't know that much about Harrison Ford and he's very private about his life. He said that he was actually one of the most professional and punctual people that he's ever worked with.
Harrison Ford.
Yeah,
as an
Harrison
actor,
Ford
yeah.
is like one of the most like dedicated
surprised, yeah.
professionals, and I think it would be very easy to fall into a trap where if you're smart about the roles you pick, because you can't deny this guy, at least in the last decade, has been very well. Ignoring Crystal Skull, has been pretty smart about the movies he's been in.
Yeah, sure. No, I
he's-
mean, he
he's
still made a
selected-
lot of money from Crystal Skull, so he's not being stupid.
It wasn't
by
a
ignoring
stupid
it.
move. It
Yeah.
was just like a bad move.
Yeah, it was a bad movie.
But either which way, I would have thought that that sort of would let him be a bit more of a diva, because you don't see him too much. So when you do see him, you better like relish the fact that you're in his presence, oh Mr. Director, because your movie is nothing without me. And true, Star Wars would be a lot inferior. Episode 7 would be a lot inferior if Han wasn't in it.
Yeah, he's a huge. He's
right?
written.
He's
the
integral.
movie is written about
He's integral.
him. Yeah.
So
Small trivia.
Yeah.
His son's name is also Ben. Just putting it out there. Go for it. Sorry.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
moving on.
Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised to hear that J.J. Abrams at least like genuinely respects his work ethic and thinks that he is deserving of all the praise he gets. Because I'm sure that there are tons of people out there that rack up millions that are just like, why are you?
That's because
you of all people.
I think he has. So from whatever I know about Harrison Ford, he has really, really humble kind of beginnings, and I think that really accounts for like why he's. So one thing is that he never used to want to be an actor. I think his dad was an actor, like while he was doing other jobs, odd jobs and stuff like that. But yeah, it's not until like university where he kind of took up an acting class, and then he kind of got into acting, and then he realized that acting is like his one great passion. So one thing is that he definitely loves what he does. He does love to act, and even though he may and it's funny because we only see him out of character in interviews, and in the interviews he doesn't want to be doing that. So he's always going to be a grumpy, old guy, and so you may think that, or maybe just, why does he want to do this job even? But the truth is that he just loves to act. I wonder if he even watches his own movies, but like, I'm sure he loves to, like, he does love the craft of it. That's one thing. The other thing is that, man, he used to do like, before he kind of broke into like, this superstardom and, like this is like American Graffiti and stuff like that. This guy was he became a self-taught carpenter. Okay? So he was a carpenter for a long time. And like, one really awesome bit that I was reading about is that he was also a roadie for the Doors.
What?
Yeah, for some time, yeah.
Oh my God.
So this guy has done like all sorts of like, really humbling kind of work, like especially like woodwork, man. Like this guy built stuff for like Sergio Mendes and stuff like that. So I think just when it comes to ethics and work, like this guy is like legit, and all he wants to do is his job, and then go home to his, like
to his
house,
Ally McBeal
to his
wife.
now Ally McBeal. But at the time, he's got 5 kids. He's got his hands full with family and his own private life. He's got his whole flying thing. So,
did you see him on the David Blaine special a few years ago? Where
he's just like, get out of my house.
Get out of my house. I was stunned to see him in that episode because like that episode, it was not episode, whatever, it was like a special. So it was like an hour-long thing. If you haven't seen it, I forget what it's called, but it's like David Blaine. In your house or whatever, because he basically goes to a bunch of celebrities.
David Blaine does cribs basically.
Essentially, he does cribs of celebrities. Like he's got Ricky Gervais, he's got Will Smith and his family.
Oh, I've not seen the Will Smith
He's
one.
got Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul.
Okay,
so this was like at the peak of Breaking Bad. So this would have been like
probably.
2010, 11, something like that. Anyway, and then freaking Harrison Ford is in this thing, and I was like,
does he need to do this?
I was like,
is he just a fan of magic?
It almost felt like as weird to see like if like Daniel Day-Lewis was in this thing, like he's another actor that you don't know anything about.
Even less so.
Yeah, exactly. So like
he literally comes to pick up his Oscars and then bounces.
Yeah, pretty much. And so like again, Ford's reaction to that was just great because he's like he didn't say anything the entire time.
Yeah,
he reveals the trick. It's freaky because it's David Blaine magic, and he's
it's David Blaine's whole weird way of talking.
Yeah,
it's like, hey, do you want to do this? Dude, like, do you want to just like, hey, you want to see some magic, man?
I want to know what he's like when he's not on camera.
No, that's him. Have you not seen his TED talk about how he held his breath for 20 minutes? Like legit.
Oh, I think I did. Yeah.
But he's just like that. He's just like.
But that's also like on a presentation he's giving. I want to know what he's like.
No, but he
if you grab a beer with David Blaine. Is he gonna like?
He's gonna be like.
Do you think he's gonna be like that, like really uppity kind of drunk?
No, man. He's just gonna be like, "Hey, watch this beer disappear," and then he'll chug it in like a second.
He probably could. Because I'm sure he could.
He'll just make it disappear.
But he won't drink it.
The hatch. Okay.
It'll go into his mouth, but there won't be any liquid in his belly.
He'll come out of like.
It'll come out of his
the
nose.
Bartender's ear or something. Yeah. Okay.
With
that, we'll just take a short break, and then we're going to talk about a couple more things. We're going to talk about Indy 5.
Yep.
We'll talk about the Han Solo spinoff later on too, and let's talk about Indiana Jones generally.
I got some stuff too.
I got some stuff. We'll be back.
Let's pay bills.
Did you know that some termites in Africa have a pleasantly minty flavor?
Did you know that India's largest music festival was in a way conceptualized in Estonia?
Did you know that the awesomest chips in the world are found only inside US prisons?
Hello, I'm Chuck.
I'm Sriket.
And I'm Naren.
And together we are
Simplified,
a podcast that helps you appear smarter to an audience that knows no different.
Or give you some stuff to talk about at parties.
We are ultra-crepidarians.
And if you don't know what that means,
then tune into Simplified with a B on iTunes, Audio Boom, or your favorite podcasting app. Episodes out every fortnight.
Wasn't that great? You should buy that.
Buy? What if they were selling a service?
You should subscribe to that. No, you should. I don't know what else.
Whoever, editor, please choose your options for which one fits perfectly for the ad that played before this. But yeah, man. So we're back with the Geek Food Podcast. I don't know. I can't think of a way that somebody would just enter directly in the middle of our show, like a listener. So if we say, "Hey, you're listening to the Geek Food Podcast," it's like, what? Did you forget?
Well,
are you Guy Pearce in Memento?
They could
or Amir Khan
pause.
in Gajni?
They could pause. And then
what? Oh, actually, they could pause and then like go
live their life,
and then come back,
having lived a better life, and been like, wow,
I'm coming back to listen to this.
Let me see if I'm still into this.
You know who else says that? Harrison Ford.
This is very true.
He did that. Just like Star Wars 1985, last one.
Was it 85?
Yeah, 86. I think Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, I think that sounds right.
Anyway. Where he wanted to be killed off, and then he was just like, "Hey." You know what idea we didn't work on last time?
Yeah.
Let's just do that now. Spoilers, guys.
No, he basically...
He dies
Oh,
in The Force Awakens. Yeah, cool.
I bet he just like looked at that Palpatine death scene and then looked at the Darth Maul death scene and was like, guys,
I want this.
I want in on this.
I want in on this. Why though? Why do you think why does he want to be killed off so badly? Does he just want to not be associated anymore, not want to do the press junket and just have an epic death, rake in the money and bounce? Is that it?
I feel like, yeah, just to feel like...
And
I feel like the artistic integrity is held because his story is complete.
Yeah,
so
fair
he doesn't
enough.
leave anybody like without closure.
Good point.
He gives you closure, and a freaking brilliant type of closure because it's
Yeah.
told so well.
I know, and it's
then
sad.
you're like, it's very sad.
You know
It's
what's really
touching,
sad about
and,
his death in The
you know,
Force Awakens?
What?
Is that he falls into infinity.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
beyond. That sucks, man.
Yes.
His body will never be recovered. The
Yeah.
body of Han Solo, gone forever.
But you know, it probably will. Because like at some point, somebody's going to be like, listen,
No, in the...
guys, I got nothing to write about this week. I'm going to just
I
bring
think
him
in
back.
the next trilogy,
Yeah.
his holster from his gun will be like, and he's like, grandfather, I will complete what you started.
Yeah.
Why is it always from the point of view of the dark side, huh? Why is there one...
Because they're cooler, man.
Yeah, they're way cooler.
Let's be honest.
But
They're cool.
They're cool, but yeah.
But
yeah.
any good
As in-
villain has to be cool.
For you to, subscribe
For me to
that,
like
yeah.
empathize with them, they need to be cool, and that's
No,
why
not
it's
to
so
empathize with them.
No.
But like to... It's like Palpatine wasn't cool, but he was so dark that you were like, whoa.
Yeah, he was badass.
Yeah, he was badass. Especially Revenge of the Sith.
I'm using cool and badass interchangeably. Like,
Fair enough.
It's
Fair
basically
enough.
appealing. There's something appealing about the bravado of the Empire.
But, I mean, so Harrison Ford's characters have always been like the anti-hero, and that's also pretty cool. I mean, like, I think that's why he's become like
that's great. Because like the thing is, it's very
Is he an
pessimistic to say-
anti-hero?
He's not an anti-hero in Indy as much, I think.
Or Star
He's
Wars?
more of an anti-hero in Star Wars because he's a reluctant hero. In
It's kinda like
in
John
A New
Boyega,
Hope,
yeah.
in A New Hope, he's a reluctant hero. In Empire, he's getting reasons to be good, and then
Well,
in
that's
6,
he's
macking on.
He's macking on Leia, man. That's the scene. That's
and
it.
in Episode 6, he's
Out
he's
and
become
out.
a hero.
Yeah, he's-
and then 7 makes sense being 30 years down the line. He's like, well, he's relapsed into being a smuggler. He couldn't be good for that long. And then finally he's like, okay, fine. If I'm going to come back to being a good guy, I'm going to be like the first time he became a good guy because he fell in love with his wife to be. And this last time he became a good guy because his son was at
involved.
stake.
Fair
So,
enough, but
you know,
like, I don't think at any point he was a bad guy. Like he,
he was never
as a
bad
smuggler,
guy.
he was
being an
like,
anti-hero doesn't always mean you have to be a bad guy, I think.
yeah, it's just like, it's basically like Robin Hooding, like, you know, basically where
Yeah.
you rip off the bad guys for
Yeah.
you're a bad guy who
It's like a big reason why like Black Panther was like my favorite thing about Civil War is because that guy, he, you know, in the middle of this giant battle,
well, it was personal for him.
it's very personal, but in the middle of a giant battle, Hawkeye comes in, right, and he says something like, in the middle of the fight, he's never met Panther.
Yeah,
he's
I
like
love that.
throwing bows at him left, right, and center. He's like, oh, by the
Arrows,
way,
arrows.
whatever, you know, the things he does. In the middle of a fight, he's like, oh, we haven't met, by the way, my name's Clint, and to which Panther's like, I don't care. I'm
Yeah.
going to keep hitting you because
Yeah.
you're in the way of what I want to do.
Yeah.
So that is not heroic. That's actually quite,
anti-heroic.
he doesn't care about like, you know,
He's not a hero by any means in the
respect
movie.
of
Yeah, fair enough.
the fight, or like he doesn't care about like his agenda. He doesn't care about why Hawkeye's there. All he knows is Hawkeye's in his way.
Yeah.
Black Panther's got his own business he's got to take care of, and he'll do whatever he needs to get it
Well,
done.
we really need to do another episode on Civil War. I feel like I feel like still there's so much to talk about. Anyway, but coming back, but I think you're right. In Indiana Jones, he is still a hero. Like he's still trying to stop Nazis, and which is the ultimate evil for everything. I guess. Yeah, you may be right. And Blade Runner, he definitely is a kind of an anti-hero. In that movie, he's more about kind of it's his job, like as a Blade Runner. He has to retire these replicants until he meets one and he sympathizes, and then he kind of goes against the grain.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever. So there was my introduction to Blade Runner was actually a video game that was set in the same, and it was like by Westworld Entertainment, and it was a LucasArts kind of game. It was way ahead of its time in the sense that it was released in 1997, and to install it, you had to have like 4 CDs, like one after the other. You remember you had to do that for some games.
I remember that.
Yeah, and and so because of that, it was just like loaded with like really, really high-end graphics, and it was a
what game
detective.
was it?
It was like a detective RPG kind of. It was called Blade Runner, and you play a parallel mission to what Rick Deckard is in the movie, and he's referenced in the game, and you're this other guy, Ray McCoy, and like and the same question was planted in my head then, that after watching the movie I was like, oh cool, so there's been this great theory that is he also a replicant in the movie?
Yeah.
And there have been many answers, like Harrison Ford said no, he's human. Oliver Stone. No, it's not Oliver Stone. What am I saying? Ridley Scott. Has said no. He may be. So
arguably
I guess
that movie sort of pulled off that feat that Inception did, in that it never like left your head for the longest time.
Yeah,
like that last shot of the totem.
Oh god. So
likewise, this thing with the unicorn.
Yeah,
it's got the same kind of thing about it.
So actually, the unicorn is the whole reason why everybody thinks that he's a replicant.
Exactly.
They share the same kind of
right. So like it's the same like, is it or isn't it kind of thing. Like
that's true. Actually,
choose your own adventure. How do you want to interpret this?
Very true, because Nolan cites like Blade Runner as a huge influence for his work, and even casting like that guy Rutger Hauer, I think that's his name, the guy who plays Roy Batty, the main guy at the end when he gives that monologue and stuff. So that guy, he's this guy in Batman Begins. He's like, didn't you get the memo? That's him.
Didn't you get wait.
The guy who fires Morgan Freeman, Lucius Fox, and then at the end he fires him back saying, did you get the memo? That's him.
Oh shit.
I know, right?
Oh,
Isn't that crazy? So he constantly casts people from like these movies that he really loves. Yeah.
Because like I think I mean Blade Runner was far more artsy-fartsy than Inception was, in that Inception...
Inception is a thriller.
Inception is a straight-up thriller.
Yeah,
it's epic as all hell. It's got that beautiful score that just like pulls you in. And
but
the
so
visual,
does Blade Runner, man.
So does Blade Runner. But the thing is, Inception is like far more marketable than Blade Runner.
Yeah,
because
it's an action film.
It's exciting. Blade Runner is not quote-unquote exciting in that way.
Yeah, it's a neo-noir film.
It's a thrilling adventure. It's more of an adventure than Inception is. Inception is just like a freight train. The minute it starts, you're just like
and
going.
The train being the operative, like kind of simile there. But I think also just that the fact that Blade Runner was more of it was an idea. It's based on first of all, it's based on that book by Philip K. Dick, which is Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. First of all, that's a whole other kind of thought piece, it's like a think piece, and it's like it's all about what's human and stuff. So it is based on a huge question, and then they made like a great visual spectacle out of a science fiction. So it's already like different.
So like if you think about it this way, like Blade Runner, what made it so great, like that world of Blade Runner, what made it so great was the art decor and the set building and the costumes and the props, right?
Time, man.
But Inception, it looks pretty normal. It looks like really any other thriller because it's set in like modern day, whatever country they're in. But what makes it go above and beyond is the visual effects work of it, right? Like the whole mind-bending
and the
stuff
gravity
you're looking
stuff.
at, the gravity
stuff.
Yeah. So Blade Runner didn't have that to its advantage. Maybe you could say it's because of the times that they were in. They didn't have the CG capability to do that.
I mean, but still,
to
whatever
a
they
level that they
that.
wanted. They did it so well. And I think the fact that they invested then in grounding the reality in the costume and the sets gives it that authenticity, which Inception I don't think has that authenticity. Inception has the spectacle.
No, difficult to say what's authentic or not about Inception, but like in the sense that it doesn't have a visual style that is distinct from anything else. Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
So again,
you could pick me up.
People could hear this and be like, "Oh my god, that's terrible. Why are you saying that?" But I know exactly what you mean,
and I would love to hear arguments for and against this. So please write in about that. But so it's like you could pick me up like a meeple and drop me into Blade Runner's world, and I know exactly where I was. But if you pick me up and drop me into Inception, I wouldn't know it until the sky freaking turns upside down. Which is a little too late.
That's true.
So
and now you can do that in like Doctor Strange also.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, three skies turning into each other.
Right. Okay. So
Indy 5. Let's do Indy 5.
2019, I believe. Or 18?
19.
July
2019.
Yeah.
So funny thing, did you know, this is what I was just reading before coming here, Temple of Doom is a prequel.
To this one?
No, it's a prequel generally to Raiders of the Lost Ark. So they did Raiders, and then they said, and then they made a prequel, Temple of Doom, and then they made the sequel, Last Crusade. And I was just like, what? Why couldn't that just have been a sequel and nobody would have cared so much?
Because George Lucas likes this whole time messing around
Really?
stuff.
Does he though?
I mean, come on.
In that sense, making prequels.
Writing random chapters of a story and not being linear about his story.
It wouldn't have mattered so much if you just called it a sequel. No one would have batted an eyelid.
Exactly. They're not too what's the word?
None of the movies are
attached.
Yeah, they're all separate stories.
Not essentially
not like
attached.
today, and especially today when everything is connected,
Yeah.
you know, everything is like this whole connective tissue of
Yeah.
the Marvel universe, and now
Yeah.
everybody's trying to do that with
Yeah.
X-Men and,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Yeah, these movies were 3 individually good movies,
Yeah.
and it didn't matter so much. And actually, Temple of Doom is where you get your nickname.
This is true.
Yeah, that's a big part of your life, man. So everybody who knows Jishnu intimately, like me, knows that Jishnu goes by another name. His artist name also is Short Round. And that's a principal character from Temple of Doom, the most underrated film.
And the most annoying character in that entire movie.
What? Short Round?
Yeah, man. He's annoying.
He's not annoying. I love Short Round. What are you saying?
He's squeaky and...
He's your generic...
Yeah.
I mean, he invented the genre of generic sidekick, I'd say. Not,
No.
He will not
But
invent it, but like he solidified
He
it.
pretty damn well perfected it.
Yeah,
He's as generic as they get.
Yeah, but Asian
All the
sidekick...
tropes, all the,
Yeah.
cliches. It's all there. It's great.
What? He was great.
It's fun. It's totally fun.
Yeah.
But
and
I think,
1 second, let's also indicate he's a pivotal role in that film. If after Indiana Jones drinks the blood of the Kali Ma, from Amrish Puri, let me just remind everybody.
Yeah.
It's a great performance of him playing Mola Ram. Dude, that is the greatest. My favorite scene, without a doubt, from Temple of Doom is when Harrison Ford has to say Mola Ram, Kala
Mola Ram. Collar Ram.
and Amrish Puri going Mola Ram, Kali Ram, and all that stuff is just like really funny. But yeah, I mean, if once he drinks that blood, and he comes to attack like both. Oh my God, I can't remember the damsel, her name.
I can't either.
Yeah, she was not memorable. The
I
blonde.
just- the blonde.
Okay, so she's not the most. That's why they made Marion Ravenwood the main indie girl in Indie 4. Yeah, so and they had Shia LaBeouf. That is just maybe they shouldn't have.
So speaking of this whole sequel prequel nonsense and like this universe stuff, I feel like now because of the time that we're in and like universes, cinematic universes and TV universes are such a thriving business model.
Opportunity also.
I feel like once this one comes out, obviously he's going to play his current age and he will have been through these movies clearly, and like I feel like they'll at least get referenced, if not be integral to the plot line. I have a strong suspicion
So what
that they're
they've
going to
said
try to work around the alien thing and like
Yeah,
keep
exactly.
it going
Yeah, so
and like be
Crystal
like
Skull- it's going to be a sequel to
all that
Crystal Skull.
happened. So I don't know. Do you think Mr. LeBouf will?
This is a good question.
Reprise his role.
I want Short Round to come back. I just
An
wanna
old
make
Short
that-
Round?
Yeah,
That'll-
he's
that'll
still
make my
alive.
day.
He's
That
alive.
will
You basically your Google like SEO
Yeah.
will shoot up not in your favor.
Yeah, it'll drop dramatically.
Yeah, so it is in your interest for Short Round to not make an
This is true.
appearance.
See,
Wow,
he's annoying.
That is hilarious.
He's so annoying.
Wow, if
He can
Short
hurt-
Round
he can affect my
comes
business.
back in Indy 5, yeah, he could seriously affect it. Wow, this is something really, really interesting. Anyway, but coming back, I definitely want Short Round to come back. Some kind of
I'm going
reference.
to Google that actor right now. I can't believe I've never done this.
Have you? I used to have the indie box set of the 3 films, and there was a 4th disc which was just the behind the scenes stuff, and it was really comprehensive.
Oh, wow, I
And they
should
got
look at that.
all the cast back for all these really, really great interviews, and how they made these films is like seriously a great watch. Like it's like kind of a short documentary on how Spielberg kind of really.
I'd love to watch that.
Especially for Raiders. So like the part where he goes into the pit, and he uses the staff to kind of reflect the light, and how they did that is really, really great. But yeah, man, in that Short Round is there, like an older Short Round, and obviously he talks about his experience, and it's great. Like he's a chill guy. I'm sure he can make it back for this film, man. If they can bring back anybody, I'm sure they could get this guy back. So coming back, Indy 5. So I just wanted to complete a point that I started early on,
Yeah.
which is that Short Round saves Indy's life. So that's very, very important. He is important. Anyway, coming back, is Shia LaBeouf going to be in Indy 5? I don't know.
I doubt
think because of his strange behavior in the last few years,
yeah.
it would be in the interest. But he has been in movies, though. I mean, he was still in Fury, which also starred The Punisher, by the way.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen. Did you
John
see that?
Butler. Yeah, no. So I started watching. I've still not finished it, but yeah.
Not that
Again,
great, I
where
guess.
Shia LaBeouf, you know what he did in that movie?
What?
He didn't shower for like the entire time
Oh,
they
God.
shot the film. So 8 months because he wanted to be in
Jesus.
character and method.
Oh, God.
So he didn't shower, and it was almost like he was insufferable.
That guy's like such extremes in his life. Like he'll hit the lowest of lows.
Have you heard about all his art projects and stuff like that?
Well, what?
Where he did this thing called #IamSorry. So basically, because Shia LaBeouf has been like the object of like the internet hate and stuff like that.
Off the walls.
So he did this really crazy art project where he put a paper bag over his head. It's basically, it's like a convention, like an exhibition where there's a huge hall and people enter and there's a bunch of things there. Like instruments like a screwdriver and like nail clippers or like just a bunch of like tools and a bunch of stupid stuff.
This could end in so many ways.
Yeah, exactly. And
kinda
basically you could take anything you want from there and take it into this private room where a man was seated behind a desk with a paper bag over his head, and it says over there, "I'm sorry" or something like that. And basically you could do whatever you want to Shia LaBeouf. And you could do whatever you want to Shia LaBeouf. And so one person, so they asked, some people asked him questions, some people did like a bunch of other shit. One person apparently like had sex with him.
What?
Yeah, they like raped, and he just allowed everything to happen. The other thing is, one person finally said, "Can you remove the paper bag?" and went and removed it, and it was Shia LaBeouf, and he was like apparently like crying like his eyes out.
What? Is this real?
It is absolutely real. It is absolutely
when
real.
was this? What?
This happened maybe a year or two ago. I'm absolutely serious about this.
So was this like a ticketed thing? He's like,
it was like it was like one of these artsy kind of shows.
So he just
like
booked out a venue and like said, "Come and like."
He does weird stuff, Jishnu.
Wait, so people like actually had sex with him and didn't know who he was?
Had sex with him. One person did apparently. Really? This is in an interview he did, and he's appeared then after that on Ellen, and like he's talked about like how he's been dealing with all his crises, and like he basically now he goes running for like 13 miles every day, and like he's weird, and like, so I think because of all these weird incidents and things that he's done in the past, he might not be in Indy 5 as a very major role, but they'll definitely reference him. It's like, I guess, like how Jay Courtney, who's like absolutely the worst actor right now in Hollywood because he's ruined pretty much every franchise from Die Hard to Terminator. It's like how he is his son in Die Hard 5, and like if they ever make a Die Hard 6, I don't think he'll be there. Like, I don't think he's going to be referenced. So there you go. So they could live without him, is what I'm saying.
So I have here an article that was just pulled up about the fact that Shia LaBeouf like very openly dissed on the indie movie that he was in. Because he saw it and like was self-aware of the fact that like this is actually kind of bleh.
Yeah, it was terrible. The moment he starts that Tarzan bit.
Yeah. But he then just like straight up apologized for that. And he said,
strange. He's a strange guy, man. He's
so
super
he
strange.
said there's a time to be a human being and have an opinion, and there's a time to sell cars. It brought me freedom, but it also killed my spirits because this was a dude I looked up to like a sensei, speaking about Harrison Ford.
Okay.
What is...
Wait, what about selling cars again?
Yeah, I'm trying to get my head around this. I can't...
Did he go back to selling cars?
I don't know what the hell is going on. I can't tell what he's trying to say. He says he's sorry about dissing it, but then he's also got these like really meta I don't know what I'm putting
well,
this
well, there you go.
He's weird.
He's a weird guy.
The bottom line.
So I mean, he would probably be a difficult actor to work with, but at the same time, he's still doing movies. So I don't know. Yeah. And now I think he's doing something even more weird. I can't remember what it was, but I remember reading something about. Again, and I was just like, I put it down as Shia LaBeouf's next weird.
So
thing.
one way or the other, I mean, he made bank off that movie regardless because it made like 700 million plus.
It did really well. The commercially
flop or not, he's still. I mean. Working regularly or not as well, he's made a killing just off the one movie alone.
And Transformers, oh my gosh, he's made enough money. So coming back, Indy 5 can do without him, and absolutely. no one will care so much.
And speaking of,
what would you like to see in Indy 5, just generally? Like what aspect? What we haven't seen of Indy so far? Like, you know.
So there was talks about Chris Pine also being in the movie and it being
as his other better son.
essentially, if it not being a movie solely about Indy, but about like a vague passing of the torch where like there's another kid that comes in and pulling a Star Wars. Essentially,
they have always been about being father-son kind of stories.
So I actually think I personally would like closure and an ending to the story.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I would like.
Sure.
if he dies again, then he's just becoming another Sean Bean. And that's fine.
No, Sean Bean dies before a franchise begins.
True,
That's
true.
Sean Bean.
This is true.
This
But,
guy's dying at the end of all of it.
Yeah, so if he dies, if he's killing off all his his
his
lifelong major characters, that actually
it's
makes sense
great.
because we know that unfortunately it's going to happen soon.
But
that
he
he's
doesn't
gonna
have
kick
to
the bucket. So
like he
let
doesn't
him,
have to fictionally die. You know what I mean? He could just
doesn't-
retire.
He could just retire.
And besides,
maybe not die, but end Indiana Jones's career.
well, here's
on
why
film
he
end.
cannot die in Indiana Jones.
Okay.
If you ever grew up in the 90s, you would have watched The Young Adventures of Indiana Jones, which used to come on television, which was a Lucasfilm production.
Yeah.
And in that, it was like what River Phoenix did, bless his soul, on, in Last Crusade, which is like they basically highlight his youth and like how he was, as how he became the legendary, Indiana Jones. And so in that, they would always bookend the episodes with old Indy. And Harrison Ford appeared as old Indy in one of those episodes also.
yeah?
As like he's a 50-year-old, which is what his age is right now,
Sure.
or more, I guess.
He's 60.
60,
Must be.
yeah? And but they had an even older Indy, which was played by another actor where he has an eye patch. I don't know if you remember. Did you ever watch this show?
Wait, so Sam Jackson made a cameo.
He's like, let me tell you about the Indiana Jones Initiative. No, but he basically there's an older version of Indiana Jones,
Sure.
and like very much like Peggy Carter, he's old and
Yeah,
he's not kicked the bucket yet. But so I mean, like I don't retire as Indiana Jones. That would be great. I think that would be interesting, and definitely have somebody to pass the torch onto. Yeah, but like, well, Shia LaBeouf, what did you do, man? Why did you do this? Actually, worse than the casting guys. Why did you know this guy? Why didn't you know this guy was gonna go?
He was just off the heels of the Transformers boom.
Yeah,
and so they knew that he was into like
I guess
big
he lost
action-y kind of stuff. He's not afraid of doing stunts,
But Shia LaBeouf,
and
really?
he's young, so like he'll get the young audience. And I don't know.
Funny, I just read this Verge article about why everyone should calm down about Eden Ehrenreich, the guy who is playing
Ehrenreich,
the young Han
Harrison.
Solo.
Yeah.
So he's like, why everybody needs to calm down because the number of roles that Harrison Ford has left behind have been replaced by plenty of actors. So there was just a list, like he was Jack Ryan in Patriot Games, and the one after that also, which I have not seen actually, and that was taken up by Chris Pine. And then I think Jack Ryan has been played recently by Tom Cruise, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, there's a bunch of it was Chris Pine. Sorry.
Anywho.
So Ben Affleck also was Jack Ryan in Sum of All Fears. So yeah, there's been a number of actors who have played like other roles in Age of Adeline, which was the other Age of movie that came on in Ultron's year.
Okay.
Was
No idea.
Blake Lively's film about how she doesn't age. And she's Adeline, and she basically her father's Harrison Ford, or her father or somebody's Harrison Ford. And when they go back in time and see it, the guy who plays this impressionist, he's a YouTube impressionist, and he's basically the spitting image of a young Harrison Ford, and he does a great Han Solo impression, and they in fact had a whole campaign to kind of make him young Han Solo. So he's also been Anthony Gruber, that's his name. So yeah, man, there've been a bunch of people who have played him, and I don't know, but I think it's just because the weight of this role is just so huge.
So because the weight of the role is so huge, the last thing I'll say is that I am, to no surprise, I think to you, I am not looking into any details about this guy. I don't want to know anything about.
Yeah, even I don't want to know
because
except he's in the new
Coen.
Coen Brothers movie. That's why we should.
Which
Hail
movie?
Caesar. Which is
I don't. I'm in no rush to see that movie.
Okay.
I already missed it in theaters, so like I can wait.
Well, you'll have to wait 2 years if you don't want to watch
That's
anything.
fine.
Yeah,
That's fine. I'll wait. This is Star Wars, man. I'll wait.
Yeah, that's true.
So
we have waited.
Because the big thing that worked for me with Force Awakens was that I didn't know any of the principal actors, right? So like I didn't have any
Oscar Isaac?
I was
Adam Driver.
I take that back. I was aware of them, but I did not know them intimately at all. And I'd even seen Attack the Block years ago, but I completely forgot about it because I remember he was entertaining in that, but that movie was kind of alright for me. So it didn't like leave an impression on me.
Yeah, same.
So I was essentially I was going in blind with these guys, which made buying into them being who they were was so easy because I had nothing to argue with that.
we don't see them as anybody else.
So this guy, unfortunately, for better or for worse, this guy, I mean, everybody knows it. I'm sure he knows it very, very well. The stakes are incredibly high. The numbers are so against him. There's like the odds of
it's almost Heath Ledger Joker vibe.
Exactly.
I guess,
The odds of him like satisfying us are so slim. It is so slim. So I personally feel like I need to give him as much benefit of the doubt as I can by not like being sort of like having another idea of him being
hard.
somebody
It's
else.
hard.
It's so hard. So like,
it's gonna be hard,
you know, I want the movie to be good. I want him to do well, and I think the best way for me as a fan to do that is to sort of not see anything else he's been in, which I know is bad for his personal business because I mean he's not making any money off of me now.
That's true.
Until this movie comes out, but I'm sure he'll be fine once this
Do
movie.
you think
comes
he's
out.
going to reprise his role in the film?
Who, Harrison?
Yeah, as a old Han Solo.
You mean
Actually,
pull a Leonard Nimoy?
No, well, yeah.
Time travel and stuff.
No, not time
Time
travel. There's no
travel
time travel
in
in
Star
Star
Wars.
Wars, but how cool would it be if they did that in
Flash
episode 8?
forward, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think let him die an honorable death and just stay there.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Cool.
well, we'll
Let's-
have to wait anyway because
Yeah.
the Han Solo film has to shoot first. All right, guys. Okay, that was
Can
good.
we talk
one.
about random stuff?
Okay, yeah, I have one more thing
Okay.
that you will appreciate.
All right.
So, did you know Harrison Ford was in a frat from Wisconsin?
Oh, what?
Yeah.
What? Which one?
How do you not know this?
I don't know
thought you
this.
were going to bring this up, but I might
No,
not. He was
tell
in
me.
Sigma Nu.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I know nothing about them, but hey, cool.
But there you go, man.
Wow.
You're-
What school do you know?
I didn't. I just saw Wisconsin. I thought that was good enough for you.
That is,
man.
yeah, that's good enough.
Because
I'll
so
take it.
if anybody doesn't know, Jishnu also studied in Wisconsin, and he was
Wow.
he's also a frat boy, and not just a
Wow.
frat boy. He was a frat man. He was the president of the frat. Oh, so that's good. There you go. So I thought that would make
damn.
your heart jump.
That made my heart skip.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So there you go. Talking
There you go.
about the people who endorse frats, I'm sure Harrison Ford has been paying the bills for Sigma Nu.
Fun fact: Zach Braff is also in a chapter of my frat
Oh God.
in Illinois, though.
Jishnu,
He
nobody
hates-
wants to know about Zach Braff
he
when we're
hates,
talking about.
or I don't know if he hates, but he never like talks about it or like acknowledges it because I'm pretty sure he had like a really bad time because I have a feeling that they hazed him and did it's like really stupid crap that like is totally not okay.
Can't you not be part of a frat if you're being hazed or whatever? Just like leave. Just say like,
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
This is not my thing.
But that's the. I can't believe we're getting into a hazing discussion on this on this podcast. But the point
Please
of hazing,
enlighten us.
The stupid thing about hazing is that it's manipulative, and so it's like if you aren't willing to put up with this torture, then you're not cool. So you want to be cool and you want to be accepted in society.
Yeah, it's like ragging is what we call it.
It's
in
ragging.
India.
It's basically,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's far worse. It's like it's on a like genuinely criminally offensive, abusive level where people should be incarcerated
Wow.
for doing it because
Well,
it's
yeah,
so
in
it's
India
so
there's a
stupid.
huge rule and there's
Yeah.
a huge policy. You could be jailed and stuff
Yeah.
like for ragging.
Yeah.
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 But I went to a media college, so like the ragging was as like chill as it gets. As in, like it was not engineering, which is hardcore. But I was like, what are these guys gonna do? They're like media students. Anyway. So coming back. Actually, not coming back. We're going
I
away.
think that satisfies random news from me as far as I'm concerned.
It's about as random as it
It's
gets.
about as random as
So let's talk about some random news.
All right.
Random news generator.
Okay, so
Yeah.
here's what I got. See, you're farting. See,
That was
these
my chair.
chairs.
Sorry, guys. That was
There's
my chair.
something about these chairs today,
Okay, cool.
and you know what it is?
Yeah.
It's because I sucked really bad this morning when I played my Marvel Contest of Champions.
Thank you for finishing that
And
sentence.
the
Generally,
entire
and
day is now ruined because of this. So that's just bad juju.
Marvel, is it a
That-
smart segue into a Marvel Contest of
No,
Champions
it's not.
news?
I'm just telling you how the vibe of my day is set. Is every morning I play
Yeah.
Contest of Champions.
Yeah.
If I do well, it's a good day. If I suck like
You
today,
have tremendously
then I end
low
up
standards
farting.
for yeah.
Hey, it's a hard game.
It's even
Those 5-star champions, they're not easy.
I'm a
Let me tell
7-star
you.
dude. I have a
Let me
7-star
tell you.
Darth Sidious
Well, there
in
ain't no 7-star in my world.
in Galaxy of Heroes.
So,
all right.
Independence Day 2.
Okay, so
right?
that's what we're talking about.
That's what I want to talk about. So, there are two things that they put out as promotional material.
Yeah, and so I just want to preface this by saying I am not excited for this movie anymore. When they announced it, I was like, yes, I loved Independence Day. And now when I saw the trailers, I was like, meh.
Yeah, so now I'm
It looks nothing like the originals.
Now I'm incredibly confused, I suppose. That might be the best word to use for this feeling I'm
Why
feeling.
are you confused, Jishnu?
Because there are two things that really intrigue me. One, so much like that BVS trailer that was 3.5 minutes long and like had a full-blown scene in it and
yeah.
was like telling you way too much about the story than that you watched half the movie.
Yeah.
Or at least the important parts of the movie in that
Yes.
damn trailer.
Yeah.
This trailer that came out a few days ago is 5 minutes long and full-blown scenes, like completely. And you get to see every single beat.
Why are they overselling this movie?
Right? So that's one thing. But it looks good.
Is it Fox?
It is Fox. Of course it's Fox. It's Fox doing
I
what Fox
knew it.
does.
I knew
they
it.
fox it up. So they showed 5 minutes of the movie, a lot of different scenes that were really cool to see, because when I watched the show, I was like, wow, hey, that's new. That's interesting. Wow, I can't believe that plot point happened.
Okay.
But I'm watching it like this, so that's stupid. Now, the other thing is that, like I said, I'm excited because this all looked kind of cool, and I was like, yeah, you might have spoiled this movie, but I guess it could be a good movie still because I have hope in Jeff Goldblum and these people. But anyway.
And Bill Pullman. I love Bill Pullman.
The other thing, which is something that has a bit more long-term repercussion, maybe repercussion's too strong a word, but is that for a similar
of course there's
trailer,
going to be repercussion for Independence Day 3 and 4.
Well, this is for any war that may come, because they've now started releasing trailers that are tied in with the U.S. military. So they're U.S. military recruitment videos.
Yeah, I did see
that start off like any other U.S. military recruitment video, which is a dad with his like tools in his garage working on something, and then like his daughter comes up and daughter's like, oh, Dad, I'm going to go away. And he says, oh, are you nervous? She says, no, I'm not going to be nervous. So, things like that. And then it cuts to a montage, what would normally be of the older father as a younger man in Vietnam or something like that. And be like, yes, I'm going to, be like my dad and be a hero and join the army. That's cool and everything. But now replace Vietnam with the War of 1996, starring Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum killing aliens.
So unprecedented. It's never been done before.
I don't think so. So now they're basically trying to convince people to join the army because, hey, you do get to fire plasma guns.
Tie in entertainment with the draft.
Right. And the thing is, that's not new. Tying in entertainment for the draft is not a new concept at all.
Can you give me any example of when it's happened before?
Our very own Captain America. So things like this,
fair enough.
Things like this.
Oh, so this is way back then.
Yeah, no, I mean just from even back then, it's been a continuous thing that people have used the entertainment industry. Even using, think of the hyper-realism of some of these war films that we've seen, like Saving Private Ryan, Band of Brothers.
Yeah, now especially.
Hyper-real, especially now, because people are invested in it, because they say, we want to portray war appropriately.
And it looks exactly like, how it is.
And we want you to feel the trauma, I want you to feel the stress and the agony and the turmoil that they go through, so that you appreciate what all the hard work that they do. And it all comes, I think, I would like to believe it comes from a good place.
Yeah.
And I suppose this one does as well, because I guess now we're dealing with like drone warfare and stuff that. So I can't even imagine the
basically
kind of tech that these guys have.
Basically getting closer to Skynet.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So now all I'm asking is, are we henceforth going to see, like maybe for the next Star Trek movie, are we going to see them saying,
Enterprise?
Join NASA?
Jesus.
Because you too can go to space and, meet aliens and go to Mars, because that's, around the corner. Elon Musk has got his...
And The Martian just happened.
So like this is...
Though that, in retrospect, might not be the best advertising for going to Mars.
Do you want to be a farmer? Go to Mars, because you could do that. You could be a potato
really
farmer.
Interesting. What would they do in India? Like how... I guess they're using Agnipath. They could sell the police academy. I don't know, but I can't think of any other way of. But also, what war are they fighting now? Can we just end this, man? Like
what, the Independence Day thing?
Yeah, no. I'm saying what? Why join the military now? Jeez, I thought it's whenever there's like a major war that's happening. Like I guess
it's called the War on Terror.
Yeah, but that's like done with, right? We associate the War on Terror from 2000 something to 2008.
It's called ISIS and things like that.
Yeah,
there's still.
I mean, there's until the media like dubs it something. There is no like real it's like the Gulf War, Gulf War II, the sequel. There's no
Gulf War II, Electric Boogaloo. Yeah.
How come it didn't have a Gulf War II, colon. The attack of the clones. I don't know.
What Vietnam be? Vietnam War. We lost.
Yeah.
I don't know. They lost. But I can't believe
somebody lost.
I can't believe we got onto this topic.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Anyway,
I mean, I think tying in entertainment with I think it's only gonna be more of a thing as we go along, and it's gonna happen in India as well, because India is just America just 60 years ago. Yeah. So there you go. I have some much less depressing news.
Please
news. And this is something. So we have a group on WhatsApp, because who doesn't? And between all of us, I like to share some things which are really, really entertaining for me. And this is something we've discussed earlier on the show, and that was the CW's Riverdale. And Riverdale is a show that obviously is going to be about Archie Andrews and his fun group of people, except they're not fun anymore. And let me elucidate by reading out the very, very long synopsis that they have. And this I have to read this because this is hilarious. Are you ready for this?
Nope.
This is good. As a new school year begins, the town of Riverdale is reeling from the recent tragic death of high school golden boy Jason Blossom. Hint, hint, he's Cheryl Blossom's brother. And nothing feels the same. Archie Andrews is still the all-American teen, but the summer's events have made him realize that he wants to pursue a career in music. Which I guess we can, because he's a big Springsteen fan, right? In the comics, yeah.
Okay.
So fair enough. And also the Archies.
Sure.
Yeah, which had sugar.
Honey.
Yeah, so that's their song. Despite the sudden end of his forbidden relationship with Riverdale's young music teacher, Miss Grundy.
Ooh la la.
So Miss Grundy is now a music teacher and he's had illicit relations with her.
This got racy.
Which means Archie doesn't have anyone who will mentor him. Certainly not Josie McCoy, who is only focused on her band, the soon-to-be world-famous Pussycats. So they're not even called Josie and the Pussycats, it's just the Pussycats. It's all weighing heavily on Archie's mind, his fractured friendship with his budding writer and fellow classmate Jughead Jones. Meanwhile, girl next door Betty Cooper is anxious to see her crush Archie after being away all summer, but she's not quite ready to reveal her true feelings to him. And Betty's nerves, which are hardly soothed by her overbearing mother, Alice. Alice is so nice in the comics. Why would they do this? When a new student, Veronica Lodge, arrives in town from New York with her mother, Hermione, there's an undeniable spark between her and Archie. Yada, yada, yada. And then there's Cheryl Blossom.
Wait, no. There's something after this that was yada, yada, yada. This whole thing was not yada, yada.
Yeah. No, there's more yada.
It gets worse.
Riverdale's
Okay, cool.
Queen Bee is happy to stir it up. We're talking, of course, of Cheryl Blossom. And she's about to make trouble amongst Archie, Betty, and Veronica. But Cheryl is keeping secrets of her own. What exactly is she hiding about the mysterious death of her twin brother, Jason? Riverdale may look like a quiet, sleepy town, but there are dangers in the shadows. Ellipsis. And now, so it's basically Desperate Housewives meets Archie.
I was gonna say this is like the OC. This is sort of
the OC meets Desperate Housewives. There's a murder and there's a mystery and there's Archie who wants to be a musician. So just your regular everyday.
Archie is going to be the new Ben McKenzie, which means he'll eventually play Jim Gordon in some capacity.
So funny though. You know who would make a great Archie, which is what Dinkar said.
Christ.
Grant Gustin, because he looks exactly like
This
Archie.
is true. Just curly up his hair a little bit and he's good.
Yeah. So there you go. That's Riverdale for you. And it's also on the CW, which means it's
Oh,
Earth
man.
4, and definitely Flash is going to feature in that show.
Jesus
Because it's by the
Christ.
same guys. So yeah, Greg Berlanti, all these guys. Yeah. So, there you go.
We've covered
Riverdale.
a pretty wide myriad, I'd say.
Yeah.
Pat yourself
You
on
mean
the back.
a myriad?
Look, let's not judge the myriads, okay? They can be wide and skinny, but we love them all.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
All the myriads. This was a good... Yeah.
All right, so that was our show. We do have a mail from
One
our website.
Akshay, was that his name?
Akshay, I can't pronounce his surname. It's Dhansoia. So I want to say, Dan, sorry.
Wait,
Okay, if I'm screwing it up, I'm sorry.
I'm going to try. Dan Soya?
He may not mail back again.
Akshay D.
Akshay D?
Akshay D.
All right. So the D has sent in a mail. All right.
The Hansoya is silent.
All right. Let's see.
This chair, again. is
I hope
farting.
it rhymes with
Jesus
Tom
Christ.
Sawyer. All right, dear geeks, I've been listening to your awesome podcast for a week now. That's it? So he's basically heard one episode. Okay, cool. It's just what we need of the nerd community we were hoping for. I was wondering whether you planned on talking about the esports scene in India. Maybe how to introduce more people to it or where you think it's headed. Thanks for Geek Fruit and for reading. Keep up the good work. Thanks for messaging, man. This is very nice.
Thanks, buddy. I'll
Thanks,
be honest,
Akshay.
I don't know jack about the esports scene in India.
I have just entered it.
So maybe you yourself, Mr. D, could
tell us about it.
write in and tell us
Tell us more about
give us
esports.
some deets, give us some stuff to go off.
Our
of.
ex-producer, Vagish, knows a lot about esports and he was heavily into it. So maybe we might even get his 2 cents on it. And 48 more. Sorry. Okay, cool. So what was I saying? Esports is basically about it's about what do you call it? Gaming and competitive gaming.
Yeah, I know what esports is.
Yeah, so
I just
competitive
don't know
gaming
anything about the
is a big deal here, and I think that's a big in for a lot of nerds in India. So,
Did you hear about the scandal? The scandal.
There was a doping scandal for esports.
No, not a
Jesus.
doping. There was a bribery scandal in Japan. I think it was Japan.
Okay.
It was Japan. It was either Japan or South
Wow,
Korea.
Japanese people accepting bribes, they're so honorable. How would this happen?
Bring greater dishonor to family.
been dishonorable. Sorry,
It
this
was
is really bad. This is as bad as Chinese Bhasan making fun of racial stereotypes.
It was
sorry,
about
guys.
StarCraft. I think it was
We
it was
just
StarCraft
love
2.
George Sakai.
StarCraft 2 tournament that had a whole lot of bucks to it at stake. And apparently it was just something about people getting on group chats and then saying like, hey, wouldn't you like to form up a team? And then this team then sort of did what they do and scheme a little bit. And the scheming got defuddled.
Well, one of the
by
it
the
could happen in
authorities.
India here also. I'm sure it
Sure it could.
Yeah, because
But so the interesting thing though, there's actually been legal action taken against it. So I think by virtue of esports now getting legal action being taken against them for like cheating
Makes it more legit.
an official sport. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you
It
cannot
is an
deny
official
now.
sport.
Yeah, it always was. But now if there's any argument against the fact.
Yeah, and I think it's growing much more in India. I think that's one of the more nerdy aspects that has taken like hold in India. Like we don't see much of comic books like being, heralded as the same way. But like esports, I know because gaming is still a worldwide thing. PS3, Xbox One, etc. PS4, in fact. And we also just we attended this thing called IGX little. Towards the end of last year, which was the International Gaming Expo, which happened for the first time. It was not even close to this being the same size as Comic-Con is, but it was quite cool. It was also in the same place where it happens in Bombay. It's in this Goregaon exhibition center. It was quite impressive, man. They had a bunch of games that they just released Fallout 4 at that point of time. So it was quite up to date with everything. And so yeah, I think definitely esports is a thing that we will be focusing on in the future. We're just waiting for probably something big to happen, I guess, and for us to focus on it. So anyway, thanks Akshay. Thanks for mailing in, and we will get right to you. Right, we'll mail you back to you.
Yeah,
That's words all over the place.
What he said, kind of. He didn't really say it, but
And
it's cool.
If the rest of you want to
anywho.
mail, just mail us at contactgeekfruit@gmail.com. You can find us on all social media, Geekfruit HQ, at Geekfruit HQ, on Facebook's, Twitter, and something else.
How many Facebooks?
One singular Facebook.
Oh, I got excited for a second.
Okay, so on Facebook, Twitter, and what else? Instagram. Yeah, we're pretty big on Instagram, which is good. Yeah, most of our updates happen over there. So if you just want to follow one of them, you can go to Instagram. If you want to chat with us directly, go to Twitter, because we have been having lots of interaction there. Yeah, I love it when people are just discovering how cool we are. It's amazing. They're just like, oh my god, Geek Fruit, where have you been our whole lives? And the answer is on Savan. So find us there.
Hashtag humble pitch.
We will be with you next week when we're talking about other stuff,
things,
I suppose. Other stuff. Cool. Bye, guys, and
Hodor. Hey, so now that you're done listening to our show, you should really listen to a show that's equally good, if not better. It's called Cyrus Says, and it is good.
It's very good. It
Quite
features
good.
Cyrus.
And other people.
And his name is in the title of the show.
And it's possibly more random than ours.
Yes, and that's actually saying something.
Eloquent.
So everyone go listen to him.
What you said.
Hey man, just help me out, man. I need some podcasts, man. I haven't had a fix in a week. Just need some.
Don't you worry about it. I got podcast galore for you, man. Just go to ivmpodcast.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Thanks, man. I'm gonna check it out.